Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Hope you're doing very well. Match day today as well. Look, I don't think it's going to live up to Bayern PSG last night. Granada versus Manchester United, but it's our Manchester United and it is a quarter-final of the Europa League and I am very much looking forward to it. But bloody hell, what a game of football that was last night, and it just shows you can talk about, let's get Erling Haaland and win a title, but there's a huge gulf. There's a huge gulf between Man United and Man City, but there's an even bigger gulf between teams like Bayern Munich. And I know Bayern Munich lost last night, but the way they play football, I mean, if they could defend and finish, they'd have won that game 6-3. But fair play to Poch and PSG for winning it. And that's what United need to aspire to be. And I just feel that Manchester United are playing with us. I really do. I think this whole, we want to win titles, we want to win Champions League. Have you seen any evidence over the last 8 years that we can be anywhere near that level? And that's the thing I would say this morning. Forget your Solskjaer issues. Forget what you think about the Glazers. Have you seen United anywhere near the level of what Bayern Munich were last night? And I know they lost, but it's that level of quality, confidence, the ability to pass the ball forward and create chance after chance after chance after chance and entertain you. I've got no attachment to Bayern Munich, but bloody hell, they were so entertaining to watch. So entertaining. Anyway, let's get on with Manchester United. Let's talk about what we've got to talk about this morning. Pogba free transfer risk and Cavani urged to leave. There's also a little bit about Erling Haaland as well, and also the game last night, which could be a positive for Manchester United as well. But let's start off with Paul Pogba. Very good article I was reading this morning. I think it's in the Telegraph by Mike McGrath, basically talking about Paul Pogba and what his options are for the summer. There's some interesting European news at the moment that Juventus could well be a destination for Zinedine Zidane, and that Zinedine Zidane may not well be at Real Madrid next season, which would prevent Paul Pogba going to Real Madrid effectively, because Paul Pogba, Zidane, Real Madrid, Pogba is the connection. I don't think Real Madrid would go for him without that, and there's a real possibility that Zidane may not be at Real Madrid next season. So to start with a positive, I mean, I don't think Paul Pogba would go to Paris, and this article said that for the reason that, you know, he gets mobbed in Paris because obviously he's a big star, and whether Pogba would want to play in Paris because of that is doubtful. Juventus have got financial issues, and if Zidane is not at Real Madrid, then he can't go there, so potentially he stays at Manchester United. However, the big thing about Paul Pogba is, and the reason we're saying Pogba free transfer risk, is Paul Pogba doesn't have to sign a new contract with anybody this summer. If Real Madrid can't afford him and Juventus can't afford him and he doesn't want to go to PSG, he sits on his contract for the final year and he goes for free in the summer. You've got to get your head around the situation with Paul Pogba at the moment. And what I would say, and the article's fantastic, Paul Pogba can speak Italian, he can speak Portuguese, he can speak Spanish, he can obviously speak French because he's French, he can speak English. Very, very popular in and around the dressing room. In fact, the only negative with Paul Pogba is his agent, as we know. So Paul Pogba is without doubt. I don't really understand why he divides opinion at United, because, I do understand, because it should be purely on his football ability. And has he really performed over the last 4 years consistently? Obviously not, but fantastic player. But United are in a situation here that's not great, and he still wants to leave United, and it's a respectful I want to leave, but it's the same situation it has been probably for 18 months, certainly since Christmas. He wants to leave Manchester United, he wants to go this summer, and there's probably not going to be much that changes his mind, especially when you look at what we just mentioned there. Paul Pogba watches football. Do you think Paul Pogba sits watching Bayern Munich and PSG and everybody else and thinks, you know what, I'll stay at United for the rest of my career? Of course he's going to want to leave, he's ambitious. The issue United have got here is that even if Paul Pogba can't get the move he wants in the summer, it doesn't mean that he'll commit to a club that he doesn't want to be at. There's no reason for him to sign. I think some people think, oh, it's great news. He can't go to Madrid, he can't go to Juventus, he can't go to Paris. He'll sign a new contract at United. That's not great news. That's actually bad news for us. We want him to go this summer, because if he doesn't go this summer, why would he sign a new contract? He stays for a year. Excuse me, that's going to ruin your ears. He stays for a year and then he goes for free next summer. So there is a Pogba free transfer risk as things stand, and it may be that Pogba's price has to drop so much this summer that United have to let him go for as little as 30 million to get something. Because the reality is that when you add everything up, if a club can't afford him this summer and he wants to go, you just see your contract out for a year and you go for free next year. And Man United end up with the situation I don't want, and I'm sure many of you don't want. I want Pogba to stay, but I don't want him to stay for a final year where he's got his eye on a move and, you know, maybe I'll be injured for 6 weeks, maybe I won't go into that tackle, I'm going anyway. It would be a toxic end to Paul Pogba's career at Manchester United if he sees his last year out. And Manchester United Football Club have created this situation and they need to solve this situation in the summer. We either need to get him onto a long-term contract with no release clauses, which is highly unlikely, or we need to let him go for cheap. Because we cannot go into next year on a free transfer hoping and praying that he signs for us, because there is no way he's going to stay at Manchester United if he goes into his final year. Herrera loved the club and went to PSG because PSG went, well, we'll pay you massive wages because we haven't got to pay you a transfer fee. And that will happen with about 4 or 5 clubs with Pogba next season. So Pogba this summer, United have got to sort it out. Do you think we should keep Van der Beek if we keep Pogba next season, says Chuba? I don't think there'll be a queue of people wanting to sign him. Ibrahim says Pogba stays. I mean, I'd love to know. Ibrahim, I'd love to know what makes you think that. Sorry, I don't know why. I'm so. This is the problem with me. I'll sneeze once and I'll start sneezing. I think I've got some sort of allergy to something. Watching the 3-2 City win 3 years ago yesterday doesn't seem like we made any progress. Same playing style, and is the squad any better? No progress. And that's from Jeffrey. But I'd love to know why people think he is going to stay. I'd love to know why you think he's going to stay, because I'll buy some of that cake, I will, but I don't know why you think he's going to stay. He's openly said he wants to go. He's got 1 year left on his deal. You can't really get more comfortable than that. And look, Kylian Mbappe's in exactly the same situation, and PSG feel that they could keep him at the club. They do, but there's talk out of Madrid this morning that Madrid are definitely going to sign Kylian Mbappe. And look, I think that we can all take the mickey out of Barcelona and Real Madrid. They're not as strong as they were, but Madrid are got 1 foot in a semi-final of the Champions League, and apparently they're not doing that well, and they could win La Liga. I wouldn't be surprised if the renaissance of La Liga starts with Mbappe going to Real Madrid and Haaland going to Barcelona. They've had the Ronaldo-Messi fight for a few years. Now they're going to go and get Haaland and Mbappe potentially, and that's the sort of progression and ambition that you want to see. Malin Bridge, if you know, you know, says Salah Ahmed. Yeah, I don't think he's that good in real life though, is he, Salah? I don't know. And Mark says, of course he's not going to stay. We need to move on. I mean, look, Pogba might stay, but I do think we need to open up our eyes, not as a fan base. I think the fan base has figured this one out, but I think as a football club, we need to figure this one out. If Pogba, and he's got every right to do this is Manchester United's issue to solve. Welcome to the real world. You've got a footballer that doesn't want to stay because you're not a very good football club and he's ambitious. Well, hello, that's your fault. I don't blame Paul Pogba in this situation at all. I don't really like Mino Raiola. I don't like the way he conducts himself. I don't like that Mino Raiola has become bigger than Manchester United. But I do understand why Paul Pogba wants to leave this club after 4 years, and that's on Manchester United. So Manchester United need to solve this issue, because if you think it's good for Manchester United club to keep Paul Pogba on the last year of his contract where he can talk to anybody and basically be on his way out and say what he likes, we've brought that problem upon ourselves. We need to solve this issue, and I'm very intrigued to see how Man United are going to solve it. We'll see. Swap Varane for Pogba and sign Grealish, it says SK. I mean, I'd love to sign Jack Grealish, but I can't see that. I mean, look, watching Mason Mount last night, just very quickly on Jack Grealish, there is nothing to suggest that United are in for Jack Grealish, but I think this is another mistake on the part of the club. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's priority midfielder last summer was Jack Grealish. He ended up with Donny van der Beek. This is because of this is buying a manager his 4th or 5th choice again and doing it on the cheap. That's what happened there, in my opinion. But Manchester United, I mean, look, I watched Mason Mount scoring in the Champions League last night, and everyone's saying what a great player Mason Mount is. And he is a great player. Well, I wouldn't say a great player. He's a very good player, and he's having a fantastic season. Jack Grealish isn't even on that platform. You know, Jack Grealish should be playing Champions League football. He's not doing it because he's playing for Villa. He is the perfect player for Manchester United. He's a leader. He's very, very talented. I think he'd be a brilliant player to bring to the club, but, you know, we're pissing about trying to sign Erling Haaland, which is just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Just about to watch your Gogglebox video, very excited, says Daniel Curtis. It's a fantastic video and it's well worth a watch. Thank you, Daniel. He'll sign a new contract with a release clause, says United. Well, you know, that's not worth the paper it's written on. I'm sorry, if Paul Pogba signs a new contract at Manchester United and there's a release clause in it, it's not worth the paper it's written on. You're basically getting bent over there. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a massive problem with our defence. People don't see it. I hope Pogba goes, time's up, let him off. United will survive. It's just simply better. I disagree with that. I think let Paul Pogba go, but I don't think we're going to survive without him as well as we are with him. I think he's a very important player for United, and I think we've mismanaged another good player there. I think we've got a history of mismanaging important players. I saw Herrera cameoing for PSG last night, and I think, how did we let that player leave the club? He's still our best midfielder in the deeper area. Ander Herrera is still way better than Fred and McTominay and Matic, and we let him go how many years ago? So 2 years ago, and still haven't replaced him. You know, we've got a habit of mishandling players in this club, especially around recruitment and letting them go. But I mean, look, on Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I think he's overhyped. I think he's one of the best one-on-one defenders in the world, but positionally, he's not that good. He plays people onside and he doesn't mark his back post. So I think we need to move on from Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Just needs to sort his game out going forward. He actually costs a lot of chances as well. I don't know who the defensive coach is at United. I really don't know who it is. But as I said, I watched all the goals we've conceded in the Premier League this season, and the amount of goals we concede because of bad marking and not attacking the first ball and not winning the second ball and not marking people up and being positionally poor. We let a lot of goals in because of poor marking, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a player that needs to work on that. He does need to work on going forward, but he needs to work on that as well. I don't think Dalot will solve that problem at all, Asher. I think he's defensively shit, to be honest. I think Dalot's good going forward. I think defensively he's very poor. Warning, Jerome Boateng is free at the end of the season. Oh my God. I mean, look, Mourinho wanted to buy Jerome Boateng a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and he was finished then. I mean, he got twisted like a bloody curly whirly, didn't he, last night? He was all over the place, and it was sad to see. I thought he was going to start singing Twist and Shout. Mbappe twisted him up, man. It was proper embarrassing for him. But look, as bad as I thought Jerome Boateng was, don't ever, and I can't even pronounce his name right, don't ever link us to that Sulai or whatever his bloody name is again. I genuinely thought it was Tyson Fury playing centre-back. Now, Tyson Fury will knock you out and he's quick in the ring, but I don't think he'd make a very good centre-back. He had that. Talk about meet Dan James. Every time Sule was on the ball, all I could hear is burp, 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 burp. Warning, big vehicle reversing. He was absolutely shit. Like, no wonder he's been linked to Man United. I bet Bayern Munich can't get rid of him. He was awful, absolutely dreadful. I do not link us to him again. I would be terrified if we bought him. Imagine him and Maguire at the back. And now I've got nothing against Harry Maguire, but Harry Maguire needs a quick centre-back next to him. He was a joke. Absolutely joke. But so, yeah, hopefully we'll never get linked to him again. We were linked to him at Christmas as well. He was bad. He just doesn't look like a footballer. I don't know. He just looks absolutely, and definitely not calling him fat. He's just slow. Like he's just so slow. Cost Bayern 2 goals actually, didn't he? And to be fair, Boateng and Sully, or whatever his name is, they cost them 3 goals. They did. Absolutely useless he was last night. I wish I had a tissue actually. That's not going to do. It might work actually. I know why I've got a bit of a cold. I've been using the nasal trimmer, and whenever I clear my nasal things out, I always get bloody irritated in the nose. But it's better than nasal hair hanging down like Tarzan. Right, let's move on. I thought Alaba played well last night. People were saying, "Oh, I actually this is funny actually." Before I talk about Cavani and Haaland, I actually was doing a watch along on That's Football last night. I'm sure some of you watched it, and I had someone in the live comments saying this clown would take Alaba. He's useless, and like the clown he was talking about was me. And I don't mind that, but I had to pull it up and say, hold on a minute. Alaba's not at fault for any of these goals. It's the donkeys that are playing next to him. And I'm a clown, yet Real Madrid, Juventus, Bayern Munich want to keep him, United would like him, Chelsea would like him, PSG would like him. All these clubs want Alaba, but I'm a clown for saying he'd be a good signing for United. You know, it's a bit like yesterday when people were saying, I don't want Varane, he's inconsistent. I'm like, bloody hell, have you been in a coma for 8 years? Have you seen our centre-backs? And you're saying, oh, I don't like Varane, he made a mistake the other day. You know, these are quality centre-backs on a different quality level to what we've got, and they would be very, very, very good. So let's talk about Cavani. So Rojo is actually talking about Cavani because obviously he's back in Argentina now, and he's been saying, look, you know, we'd love to bring Cavani back, not back to Argentina. We'd love to bring him to Argentina, Boca Juniors. Manscaped not going to be happy with that comment, says Michael Malloy. What? Trimming your nasal hair is a very good idea. Pogba for Varane, Sancho, Bellingham for around 150 million. Dortmund needs to sell, says Tox. You're living in a dream world, Tox. You're living in a dream world. But let's talk about Cavani. So Rojo saying he wants Cavani to come back to Argentina with him, play with him at Boca Juniors. I don't actually know. I don't know whether Rojo's at Boca Juniors, is he? Maybe it just means in Argentina, I don't know. But, I mean, look, to be honest, when Rojo left, I lost interest. I lost interest when we had him. But he's saying I'd like to take him fishing. We got on really, really well. I mean, look, the reality is for Manchester United, in a cold, harsh truth, we could lose Cavani for free because he's got no, you know, there's no value to him because it's about whether we want to renew the contract and whether he wants to renew it. And we could lose Pogba for, you know, around £30 million as well. So it's looking like you know, there are problems that Manchester United need to resolve this summer, and I don't know how they're going to do it, to be honest, because I think with Cavani, it's a difficult one. Similar situation to Koundé played against Dortmund, says Salah Ahmed. Yeah, Koundé didn't play badly against Dortmund, you're right. But it's a difficult situation with Cavani because I think he needs to go. But I think from what I'm hearing and what you're probably seeing as well, he is at Boca Juniors. Rojo, thank you. Thank you from John there. With Cavani, what would you do with Cavani? I feel that it was a risky signing, as you know. I got a lot of stick for it, but I'm not one to say I told you so. Ultimately, I wouldn't say I told you so. I do still think that Cavani's done a good job at United. Not the job that that many people thought he was going to do. He has been injury prone, as I said, but he did score some important goals. He got us 3 points against Southampton, which we might get second place because of 3 points. And though you can look at various 3 points this season, Rashford against Wolves late on, the block by Eric Bailly against Villa. But that late performance, second half, 2-0 down against Southampton, 2 goals by Cavani, you'd look at that and say that was down to Cavani, wasn't it? So he's definitely produced. Has he produced to the level that many of us wanted to? Probably not, but he's not been a flop like Ighalo. I think Ighalo was good at the start for the first few weeks in some pretty low-level important games. Cavani's done bits in important games, but I haven't seen enough from Cavani personally to keep him at the club. He's on 200 grand a week. That's a lot of money. 200 grand a week. He's on more than most of the Liverpool squad and most of the Man City squad. So we forget that. We're paying a player 200 grand a week. I can get to £1 million a week on absolute dossers at United. And when I say dossers, I mean people who are not worth the money. Now, that doesn't mean they're terrible footballers, but I think in life, when you pay for something, are you getting what you need? Like, I found out the other week that I was still paying for, what's the Now TV on Sky. I didn't even know why I had it. I couldn't figure out how I'd had it and how long I'd had it. So I got rid of it. There's nothing wrong with Now TV, but I'm already on Sky. I think I had it from when I was on Virgin 18 months ago. So I've been paying £5 a month for something I don't need. It's good, but it's not worth the money. And I think with United, you look at Mata, 140k a week, Cavani, 200k a week, Matic is probably on 100 grand a week. That's £500,000 a week. It's more than £500,000 a week. It's not. It's nearly £500,000 a week. They're all good players in their own way, but they're not worth £500,000 a week. And I don't know whether Man United look at things like that. I don't think they look at what they're paying. It's like the goalkeeper situation. We're not just paying Henderson 140 grand a week and David De Gea 350, £500,000. We're also paying 80 grand a week to Romero. We're touching 600 grand a week on goalkeepers. We're We're probably paying around £2 million a week to players that we don't even need. That's a lot of money over a year. That's well over 20 million. So I think with Cavani, I'm of the opinion that let him go. Frozen, let it go. Because does he justify 200k a week? Is he going to be fit every game next season? No, he's not. And is he going to be a worse player even if he stays fit because he's 35? Maybe, because he's in that age group. So for me, I wouldn't do it, but a lot of people would. Top managers substitute players when they're not playing well. Our manager sits in the stands, picks his nose and waits for individual brilliance. Ollie out, says Alpha Shark. Yeah. Lynn Hall, being very sensible, says Now TV is cheaper than Sky if you get one of the regular deals and you can stop payments anytime you want. The trouble is, Lynn, Now TV has got a massive delay on it if you're watching football. Martial must be laughing his head off getting 250k, says Robert McCormack. Yeah, well, we overpay. I'm not going to disagree with Robert on that for once. We do overpay a lot of people. I think Rashford's on more or less the same as well. I'm not saying that Martial and Rashford aren't bad players, but do they justify that sort of a wage at that stage in their career? I think Kevin De Bruyne deserves 250, 300k a week. I'm not sure people like Martial and Rashford do at this stage in their career. But we'll see. We'll see. Who gives out the contract, says DK. Who do you think? Sell Pogba for Milenkovic, Savic. Sell Dean and buy Koundé. Sell Matic, Lingard, Dalot and buy Rice, says Josh. These things can happen, but there's too many of these things that need to happen, isn't there? That's the problem. You can't do all these deals in one summer. We will go into next season with Matic, Mata, Cavani. I would say 2 of those players will still be at the club next year because we're so slow at being efficient. So we still will waste money and we've done it for a long time. Kevin De Bruyne is on 375k a week now. Well, yeah, he's worth it. He's worth it. But what I'm saying is 250 grand a week is a lot of money, isn't it? Do you think that some of our players befit that wage? I think we pay stupid money. I think Luke Shaw's on 180. I think Maguire's on not far off that. I don't think they're worth that. I think they're good players, but I don't think they're worth that. I think United have been bent over on wages for a long time. I don't know where we lost the ability to say to a player coming to United, you can earn your wage, instead of come to United and we'll pay you stupid money. We seem to have lost the importance of what Manchester United is. You buy players that are good players, but you give them stupid money to come. But maybe that's how we have to sign players now, because people maybe go, look, you're a big club, but you're not very good, so pay me big money. United's wage bill is 183 million a year, according to Google, which is 40 million more than any other team, which is Arsenal somehow, says Zach. Well, it's disgraceful, isn't it? I mean, how some of the people on our board are still in a job over the last 8 years. No other business in the world would do it. No wonder we don't have a transfer budget when it goes on wages. Not a very well run business club, says Steve Locke. And we're not even run like a good business. We're clueless. This seems to be the theme in the live comments. Thanks, JV, for that. Let me just talk to you about Erling Haaland. So the Erling Haaland situation is developing quite interestingly. I don't think Barcelona can actually afford him. If you remember what is being quoted, Dortmund wants 150, Raiola wants 20, and his dad wants 20. That's 190 million pounds just to get Erling Haaland to talk to you before you talk about wages. So I don't think Barcelona can afford that. Real Madrid are looking at Mbappe, so maybe Haaland and Real Madrid isn't going to happen, although I wouldn't rule it out. Obviously, there's no way that Juventus and Bayern Munich can afford it. PSG can afford it. I wouldn't rule PSG out. Riola's got a good relationship with PSG as well, so I wouldn't rule that out. And then that brings you to England. I don't think Man City will do this. I think Pep Guardiola's telling the truth. I don't think Man City will do it. Man City will probably buy a 30 million striker who will end up being better than Erling Haaland, because that's what Man City do. They find these players for 40, 50 million quid. So that leaves Liverpool. Again, I don't think Liverpool can afford that. So that leaves Manchester United and Chelsea. At the moment, I would say that it's between Manchester United, Chelsea, PSG and Real Madrid for Erling Haaland. But the only reason we're in this debate is because we are stupid enough to do it. I don't think that United should be anywhere near this deal, but I'm not in control of it. It makes no sense for the player. You'll destroy your career at United. You'll only be here for 3 years and you'll be disruptive after about a year because you won't like it. We will blow ridiculous amounts of money that might cripple the club for years. Like, you're talking close to 200 million on one player. And It doesn't work. It's not the right deal. We don't create chances for our number 9, so why blow the budget on a number 9? And if this number 9's going to buy us a title, tell me for why Dortmund haven't won the league in Germany. If Haaland's so bloody brilliant, why have they not won the league? Because I personally think Dortmund's team's better than ours, and yet Dortmund can't even get in the top 4. So it's an absolute cluster of shit if we go and sign Erling Haaland. But I'll celebrate it like everybody else. And I know that's hypocritical because it would be exciting. But when you look at it pragmatically, it's such a bad deal for United to get involved in. But they're absolutely obsessed with it. So I'm just hoping he signs for somebody else, because I think it will destroy this football club if we sign Erling Haaland. I think it's such a bad deal. And even if we bought him and he did well for a year, he'd be off. He'd be off because he'd just be scoring goals in a shit team. So I really hope it doesn't happen, but I don't think it will happen. I think it's an obsession, but we're absolutely obsessed with it. Just me who would sign Florenzi from Roma. He runs rings around Fred and Tellez in the group stages at Old Trafford, says Ewan Black. I mean, just the fact that he runs things around Fred doesn't really fill me with confidence, to be honest with you. Alpha says, you're idiots thinking you'd ever get Haaland. Well, people thought we wouldn't get Pogba. Manchester United are capable of doing that deal. They are. It's terrifying. Terrifying that we might do the deal, but we definitely could do the deal. Haaland's overrated. I don't think he is, Matty. I think he's a fantastic player. I just think, to be honest with you, and I'm sure many of you feel this, I'm massively frustrated by the links to Haaland. It seems to be priority number 1 in the press, and it seems to be that Manchester United are driving this priority number 1, and I don't know why we're doing it. I'm sceptical of it. It's frustrating. It's almost like they want Haaland to be the big story, but why? I suppose why is the word. Why? We need a centre back. We need a centre defensive midfielder. We probably need a right winger. And yet the striking position is the position. And it's an obsession as well. And it's like, it's just so frustrating because we're never going to win a title. We're never going to win a Champions League by focusing a ridiculous amount of money on one position. And I don't care whether that's Haaland, whether that's one centre back, whether that's one centre defensive midfielder. We are 4 players short in that first team, maybe 5. We are 4 positions short of being a decent team. And we'll be 5 if Pogba goes. And we'll be 6 if Wan-Bissaka doesn't improve. So there's massive amounts of improvement for Manchester United. And one position is not the problem. This is no different from the Sancho saga. We won't be spending more than 70 million, same as every other window, says Denton McGowan. And Solskjaer will never get us playing like PSG and Bayern. He has to go. Well, that's a different story. I think in relation to tonight's show on the watch-along against Granada, this is a very interesting game because I expect a performance from United tonight. I don't think Granada are that good. I don't think there's any excuse not to go and play good football there. I think it's going to be very interesting, especially with no Rashford playing. Do you play Dan James or do you try and play a little bit more better on the ball? Does he play McFred and put Pogba on the wing? I think he might do that. I think if Rashford's not fit, we might see Pogba off the left, McFred, Greenwood and Cavani, which I think is a mistake, but we'll see how it goes. Ahmed starting, I suppose, got no chance. Shubham, I don't think we'll see anything like that. Do you think we will win the Premier League with this board? Says Legendary Marv. No. Forget Haaland. The big story is the masterpiece tonight against Slavia, says Arsenal. The only people watching that are Arsenal fans, isn't it? A decent team isn't built overnight. Buy Haaland now, buy 2 others in the next window, etc., says Asker. I think that's, to be honest, Oscar, I think that's a fantasy, an absolute fantasy. So what you're saying is spend absolutely shitloads of money on Erling Haaland, put him in a United team for a year, and then keep building. He'll be gone in a year. If he plays in that team the way we've played this year, Haaland will be gone in a year. He'll be so frustrated. So I think if I mean that might happen. We might only buy 1 player, but don't buy the bloody striker. He's the icing on the cake. Build the team. Don't buy a striker and then not give him any service. Build a team to create service. You're better off building a team that creates chances and having a crap striker than having the world's best striker and not creating chances. You build from the back forward. Like, get the centre-back that pushes us high up the pitch. That'll create more chances. Then get the CDM in that's going to move the ball quicker from back to front. Then bring the striker in, but don't buy the striker and play the back six and don't create chances. So, Kimmich is fantastic. I get annoyed by people talking about Kimmich because obviously he's a fantastic player, but what a CDM he is. He's unbelievable. The best in the world. 100%. Bruno was the service, but you don't get the ball to Blue. We don't get the ball to Bruno enough. It's going to be a very interesting summer for Manchester United. Tempo says, Mark, squid, if you know, you know. And we've been building a team for 7 years, Mark. We've been building a team badly for 7 years, Nick. That's the problem. We've not been getting managers their first or second choices, and that shows. It really does. Mbappe or Haaland? I'd take Mbappe every day of the week. I think Mbappe showed again last night, and well, it's not just last night. Mbappe is a clinical finisher. He's a brilliant, brilliant finisher. But what Mbappe can do as well, he's quicker than Haaland, and he's quicker on the ball than Haaland. Haaland's very, very quick, but Mbappe's sort of he's like Ronaldo. He's a winger up front. Mbappe's better than Haaland as far as I'm concerned, but United won't be in that equation. And I think Mbappe would suit Man United better than Haaland because at least you've got a striker there that can create something out of nothing. Haaland's a service striker. He needs good quality service. I think Mbappe thrives on good service, but he's also a player that can do something out of nothing. So Mbappe, for me, would suit United better. But, of course, we're willing to throw everything at Haaland. We're not even mentioned about in relation to Mbappe, who would probably be cheaper because he's got 1 year left on his contract. But I suppose Haaland's got 1 year left on his contract to a certain extent. Pogba for Goretzka. I think Pogba would be a brilliant player for Bayern Munich, but there's no... I mean, it's funny that was mentioned in the article I was talking. I think Pogba would be a fantastic player for Bayern Munich, but he never gets mentioned in relation to Bayern Munich. There's nothing coming out of Germany about Paul Pogba, so... do Bayern Munich buy Mino Raiola clients? I don't know. Can't think of any that are there. And maybe that's... Yeah, Bayern Munich is such a well-run football club. Maybe they wouldn't want to get involved in that sort of thing. But, yeah, I mean, I'd love Kimmich at Man United. I think we all would. Would you prefer Haaland and Rice or Calvert-Lewin, Rice and Koundé? Oh, come on. 100% Rio. Would you prefer... What would you prefer? Would you prefer Haaland and Rice or would you prefer Calvert-Lewin, Rice and Koundé? I'd go for Calvert-Lewin, Rice and Koundé every day of the week. I'd be more than happy with that. I think I think that's a brilliant question. Would you rather have Rice and Haaland or would you rather have Rice, Koundé and Calvert-Lewin? And I'd definitely go for the three because we need those three positions. They're all as important as each other. They really are. They really are. It's like, you know what it is? It's like, I'm trying to think of three things here. What's three things? It's like taking your kids out for something to eat, isn't it? And, one of your kids you buy caviar and chips. The other one you buy a Big Mac meal. And the other one you give them a slice of bread. Like, they're all your kids. They all should get the same. We need fairness across the three positions, and I think like getting Haaland in and then getting a crappy midfielder and a crappy defender, you basically are feeding one of your kids fantastic food and depriving the others and giving them shit food. And I think that United, this is what I don't get about the obsession. The striker is no more important than the CDM and the centre back. In fact, the centre back and the CDM are probably more important than the striker, and yet we want to throw everything at the striker and sort of put a plaster job on the other two. And it's not right, is it? It's not right. It isn't. We shouldn't be doing that. We've got three major areas that need to be improved. We're getting Mings and Dembélé. I'm telling you, Mark, says Shubham. Look, we could have a really good transfer window. We could have an absolutely terrible transfer window, and I'm sure many people. Nos says as long as it's Warburton's bread, I'll be happy. We could have a fantastic transfer window. We could have a mundane transfer window. We could have a crap transfer window. I think most people think we're going to have a crap one. I actually think we'll have somewhere between... I think it'll be an average one. I think we'll do some good things and some bad things. And the reason I think that is because it's impossible to have a good transfer window because we can't do everything we need to do. You can't remove Phil Jones, Andreas Pereira, Dalot, Matic, Mata, Cavani... one of the goalkeepers, Lingard, and that's just 8 off the top of my head. Solve the Pogba problem, solve the Martial problem, buy a striker, buy a right back, buy a centre back, buy the CDM. I'm up to 14 deals off the top of my head there. You can't do all that. We're not going to be able to do all that. And that would be a good transfer window, but we can't do all of that. We'll be lucky if we do half of it. So the interesting thing is going to be, what do we do? United will let Arsenal win the Europa League. I don't think we'll let anybody do anything. It's in our hands. It's in our hands. Would you keep Delot when he returns from Milan? I mean, look, at this point, I would keep Delot not because I think he's very good, but because so many times this season, Wan-Bissaka needed taken out of that team for a rest mainly, but sometimes for poor performance. You've seen what's happened with Shaw and Telles. I mean, unfortunately, Telles has been the victim in the brilliance of Luke Shaw. But Luke Shaw knows what's going to happen if he doesn't play well. Wan-Bissaka's got nothing. I think Brandon Williams has been misused. I think Twan Sebi has been misused. He's not used them, and he's just said, Aaron, you keep playing how you're playing every week. And we do need somebody to come back at right back that can challenge him. But Solskjaer's got to pick them. Last season, he didn't even use Delot. So Delot coming back is only good if he's going to actually use him, isn't it? Tebo says, realistically, I think we'd be better off getting the Neto, Basuma and Koundé with the budget we have. In a fantasy world, I'd like Mbappe, Koundé and Rice. Look, if we can't get Declan Rice, and I've said it before, Declan Rice wants to go to Chelsea. If Chelsea say no and Declan Rice says, right, I'll go to United, brilliant. But Basuma, is there a huge difference between Basuma and Declan Rice? I think Declan Rice is better than Basuma, but I'd be over the moon with Basuma. I really, really would. Using the Haaland type to get Sancho on the low, says Active Sports. We could still buy Jadon Sancho, and I'd be very happy with Jadon Sancho. But we'll see what happens with that. Chelsea linked to buying Rice, Koundé and Haaland, and we are here stuck with Ben White. Everyone enjoy second place, says Kian. I'll say what I said at the start of the video. I watched Bayern Munich last night. They lost a game of football. If I was a Bayern Munich fan, I would be over the moon. Not with the loss. I'd just be like, oh, you know what? If we sort that defence out and we're more clinical, we'll win the second leg. We were way better than PSG. And PSG were good. But Bayern Munich were on a different level. Sometimes this is what I talk about quite a lot, and I know some of you talk about it. People say, do you want to win games or do you want to play good football? And look, playing good football isn't exclusive, but if you play good football, you'll win more games. I want Man United to play the Man United way. I want Manchester United to entertain. Bayern Munich last night, if I was a Bayern Munich fan, I would have been over the moon with that, like I say. Not because you've lost, but because of the way you played the game. Like PSG ain't a bad side, and Pochettino's a good coach, and they carved them open time and time and time again. They overwhelmed them, and they only conceded goals because of Boateng and Sully. That's why. They only didn't win the game because they had Choupo-Moting up front and they were wasteful at times. But the way they play football, direct. This is what I talk about United. Watch United tonight. They probably won't do it now, but watch United. They get the ball, they take a touch, they have a look, they pass the ball sideways. Everyone takes a touch or two. Bayern Munich, it's give and go. It's move. It's pulling good teams out of position all the time. Fantastic. And my issue is we're absolutely nowhere near. Now, I'm not saying even if we invested well, even if we tried to play the right way, we probably wouldn't beat Bayern Munich because they've been doing it for years. But we've got to play a better brand of football. Otherwise, we will never... Buying players... I think Man United think if you buy good players, you're going to win titles. That doesn't happen. Chelsea, Manchester City, they've spent a lot of money and they didn't dominate. Pep Guardiola has made Man City go to another level. I know they won titles before with other managers, but Pep Guardiola has made them go to another level. With his brand of football and the spending, they've become one of the best teams in the world. Bayern Munich have become one of the best teams in the world because they've bought good players, but they've got a defined play of playing football. United can buy all the players they want. They can write all the checks they want. And I would implore Manchester United Football Club to listen to this from whoever says it, because it's logical. You can spend all the money you want. You can put it out there in the press that you want to buy Haaland as much as you want. You can talk about spending £200 million on one player as much as you want. But until you build a team, and until you build a team that plays good football, you will always be under pressure and you will never be appreciated, because we cannot buy superstars and expect to win things. We've already been down this road. We did it with Paul Pogba. 4 years later, he wants to leave. You've wasted the money and you're going to lose a lot of money on him. Learn the lesson. Build a team and get a team to play good football, and then start adding the icing on the cake. We are miles away in relation to playing style and team to be winning major trophies. Obsessing about one player in one position is a recipe for disaster. We need to build a bloody team. That's what we need to do. And Bayern Munich and Manchester City and Liverpool and everybody else that's been successful over the last few years are a prime example of this. Build a team. Even that summer that Klopp had where he went and got Fabinho and Alisson and a few others. Build a bloody team. Stop chasing individual dreams that you think are going to sell you a load of shirts and win you a title. That world doesn't exist. Do you think United is more focused on Sancho or Haaland now? Which transfer is more likely? Not that I'd want to splurge the cash on them. I think we'll be trying to do one deal with one of those. Yeah, I do. And Zach says that's the reason Ollie has to go. Look, for me, Ollie next season it's all eyes on Ollie. If he doesn't get that team playing good football next season, I'll be Ollie out. And I don't like saying that, but I will. We've got to start playing good football. And I want to see some good football tonight as well. Thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe, smash a like on the video. We've got the watch along for you tonight. Looking forward to that. Obviously, we'll go live if anything else happens this afternoon, but it's unlikely on a match day. We'll see what happens. But thanks everyone for watching. Please smash a like on the video, and we will be live at about 6:30 tonight for the watch along. Looking forward to that. Let's see some good football because we should win. Let's see some good football. Although, warning sign, Porto did fantastically well against Chelsea last night. So, let's not expect to smash them. Let's hope we can. Thanks for watching. Speak to you in a bit.